You know what I'm going to do this weekend?
What you're gonna do? I don't think.
I'm going to watch all of the rugby this weekend. I'm going to watch all of it. I'm going to watch the Prem. I'm going to watch URC. I'm going to watch some top 14. I'm going to watch some Women's Six Nations. I'm going to watch some Super Rugby in the morning. I'm probably going to watch some Japanese rugby. I'm dying to watch all of the rugby. That's what I'm going to do this weekend.
Are you gonna watch MLR?
Probably. It's like 4 a.m. No, I'll watch it, but like I watch the highlights. It's like 4 a.m. for us. You know, see what happened last week? Legion are struggling. Right, let's look at previewing this weekend's games because we're back to domestic club competition and there's a lot of rugby going on. Obviously, there's also the Women's Six Nations going on. So if you haven't already, check that because we've just started putting that on the rugby app as well and on allthingsrugby.com. So starting off with the Premiership. Now, the Premiership's a really interesting one. Just a little recap. You've got the top two running away with it, Bath and Northampton. Then you've got the fight for the semi-finals going on. And then realistically, even Surrey's are going to struggle to get in that. You've got Surrey's, you've got Sale, and then unfortunately, Quins, Gloucester, and Newcastle are ready for their summer holidays. But we have got some exciting games this weekend, including a massive one near the top of the table. So let's break down everything that is happening this weekend in the Prem. Firstly, on Friday night, we've got Bristol versus Gloucester. Now, Bristol, especially at the beginning of the season, were playing such good rugby, but they've had so many injuries of recent that they've been struggling. Form's a little bit. I mean, even Quinn's beat them recently, so you know, and that hurts me to say, but there we are. But Bristol versus Gloucester, both teams like to throw the ball around. So if you are neutral, definitely on a Friday night, try and watch this one. On Saturday, Northampton, after unfortunately losing against Bath in the Champions Cup last weekend, they're going to Sandy Park, which, man, that place is windy as hell at the moment. So it's going to be a tough one with Exeter not only riding high in the Prem, but also through in their semi-final of the Challenge Cup as well. So that should be a massive game for both teams. Bath are probably going to beat up Harlequins on Saturday night, so we don't really need to talk about that one. But let's move on to Sunday, where we've got Saracens against Sale, which Saracens social media have already gone this week and put up pictures of Alex Sanderson, which is always good to see. But look, Sale, they've made a few transfers for next year. We know that they're losing a couple of players, but they've lost so many of their England players through injury at the moment. Bevan Rod, Cowan Dickey, the Curry brothers, to name a few. So it's going to be a tough one for them. As Sarries, again, like, you know, Sarries are there or thereabouts. They'll need to win the remainder of their games to probably push for that playoff position in the Prem. But on their day, Saracens can still beat anyone. We saw that earlier on in the season when they beat Toulouse as well. So that should be a good one on Sunday afternoon. In the URC on Friday night, we have a massive Irish clash as Ulster and Leinster take on one another. And again, with both teams now through to European Cup semi-finals, albeit champions for Leinster and challenge for Ulster, this should be an interesting one to see whether they rotate players or not. And we know we've seen all year when Leinster rotate players, it's still pretty much an international team. But Ulster have been probably the Irish team this year, especially in the URC. So this should be a cracking one on Friday night. Couple of games to watch out for on Saturday. We've got Glasgow going to Lions. Now, Lions' home form, even against the other South African teams, was really good. And Glasgow obviously disappointed to lose their quarterfinal of the Champions Cup against Toulon. So whether Glasgow rotate players to send over to South Africa will be an interesting one. And the Lions at home, and obviously the South African teams didn't really have much to do the last couple of weekends. So that could be a little upset coming for the Lions. The other game on Saturday night sees Benetton, who, again, the last 2 weeks have had some fantastic games at home in the Challenge Cup, albeit they lost their most recent one. But they have been scoring tries for fun, and they're going to be hosting Munster, who have got every problem at the moment. Now, shout out to all the staff that got made redundant and released as well from Munster. Like, for such a big club, obviously it's such a bad position to be in financially, but also on the pitch it hasn't been great either. We put a little bit of a joke post out recently, which we took some heat for, but look, lots going on at Munster. A couple of change of coaches coming next year as well, which got even more drama. So, if you want to get some popcorn on Saturday night, this might be the game to tune into. Over in France and in the top 14, we are starting with one of the biggest games of the weekend in any league. Saturday lunchtime, La Rochelle will be hosting Bordeaux. And if you haven't already, jump over to allthingsrugby.com and on the rugby app and check the highlights of the last Bordeaux game, because they and Toulouse tore the house down as well. And obviously, Rogers La Rochelle still trying to fight to get playoff position, and they've been up and down all year. So depending on Bordeaux, how hard they partied, rumours going around Ben Tamafuma's still in the pub as well. So let's see how Bordeaux get on away at La Rochelle. Wrapping up the weekend, we've got Racing 92 against Stade Francais, which again is another derby that is just always throwing up some good matches as well. And because that pitch is such a beautiful one to play at Racing, this is going to be a fast game. Expect that ball to be moving a lot, so this might be the trifest to end the weekend. Down under in Super Rugby, with the recent news of Moana Pacifica folding at the end of this year, doesn't get easier for them. They're facing the Waratahs, who again, although they've had a roller coaster year, Waratahs are going to be absolutely licking their lips for this one. So it's going to be a hard day out for Moana. And after knocking off the Blues last week, the Hurricanes will be taking on Chiefs, which will be another epic battle. So a couple of big games in Super Rugby to keep an eye on this weekend. Elsewhere, as mentioned, you've got the Women's Six Nations, you've got Super Rugby Americas, you've got Major League Rugby, you've got Japan League One. There's so much rugby to watch this weekend. And of course, the only place to get all of the live scores, all of the stats, all of the news, all of the updates, and after the game, all of the highlights is on allthingsrugby.com and on the rugby app. So make sure you check those out straight away. We'll be giving some predictions and deep diving into our must-watch games that we've put out this week as well over the weekend. So make sure you're following us on all channels to stay up to date with everything happening in the rugby world. My name is Shanair, and thank you for watching All Things Rugby.